The JKB back with another episode. Today on the show, I'm doing my top 5 PS2 games of all time. I'm lying. I'm doing Mad Max. Thank you so much to WB for sending over a review. Listen, I'm going to go out of character. A lot of you assume this is me. This is Jay, right? But actually, this is Jay. I talk like this. And I'd like to thank WB for sending over a review copy of the game. It means the world to me. And I'm sure my fans of the world would really appreciate if you sent me thousands of copies to send out to my loving, adoring fans of the world. I am very popular and I'm starting a Patreon because I need a new wig. Thank you so much, WB. Thank you. And also, as always, I asked you guys on Twitter and Facebook, how do you feel about this game? What do you want to know? So I answered some of you, not all of you, because that'd be fucking ridiculous. You don't pay me enough to do that. Also, 10 out of 10, and you're wondering, is this guy fucking crazy? He's giving every game 10 out of 10? No, I'm not crazy. How I do it is 10 out of 10, benefit of the doubt, right? Because the studio wants to make a good game, a perfect game, right? Right? It's not just for money, is it? Ooh, it could be. That's why I go through and take things off, put things back on, depending on how good the game is and what key points I'm talking about during the review. By the end of the review, it could be a 10 out of 10. Could this be a 10 out of 10? I don't know. Let's find out. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, which features terrain such as canyons, caves, deserts, and sometimes secret locations that you'll have to go out there and find. The player controls Max as he progresses through the wasteland to seek his lost car, the Interceptor, made famous from all of the films, of course, and also to build his ultimate car called the Magnum Opus. The game puts heavy emphasis on car combat, in which I'd say 60% of the game requires the player to drive in a car to fight against enemies. This is awesome car combat. The car customization in this game is spectacular. I love the abilities that you can put onto your car, weapon-wise and armor-wise. It's all there, and it's all exactly how I would expect it to be in the menu system. They did a really good job of showing you exactly what it would do and explaining what it would do. Now, the point system that's attached to it, or I should say the scrap system, because in this game you collect scrap to afford to upgrade your vehicle. It can be a little confusing at times. The menus are convoluted, that's for sure. But once you get past it and you understand what you're doing with your vehicles in this game, I have to say the customization is the key selling point to this game. And I'm going to get into what is the true fucking key point of this game right soon. You'll see. Hamad asks if the combat is as smooth as other previous WB games like Batman and Shadow of Mordor, and I have to be honest here. Yes, it's smooth, and once you unlock the combos, the game is a lot of fun. I'll be honest, I had a lot more fun beating up bad guys in this game versus the last Batman game, and I think that's saying a lot based on the fact that this is the first in the series. The first Mad Max game, and I can only imagine how good it will get, and I really did enjoy the sounds that happen when you crack people's head, and it's awesome. The one problem with RPGs, and this one unfortunately has that problem, is the menu system is so convoluted and out of date that I'm very disappointed. Yes, the car customization is there, but the way that they've handled the upgrades for your combo system when you're on foot, it's buried. You don't even get a highlighted sort of look into it, really. It's just sort of buried behind the car. The car is the star of the show. 60% of this game will be in the car. So of course they spend a lot of time on the customization of that, but everything else in terms of his abilities, his combo system upgrades, and everything you upgrade other than the car seemed second hand. Like they kind of, the car's the star of the show. Forget everything else. So for that reason, I'm going to bring the score down to an 8 out of 10. Story-wise, this game is as empty as my bank account, or as empty as a gas can in the post-apocalyptic world. You don't get much of a story here, and it's very predictable, and unfortunately, I just have to bring the game down to a 7 out of 10 at this point, because story for Mad Max is everything, and yes, he doesn't say a lot in the films or even in this game, and it's the cast of characters that surround him that keep you interested in his story, his interactions, and unfortunately those fall flat. I give a little bit to Chumbucket and his relationship, but everyone else in the game is very, very much a gimmick, predictable character. Somebody named Kick asks, is it a true adaptation of the movie or a game in its own right? Well, guess what? It has nothing to do with the recently released Mad Max film or the previous Mad Max films. It's more based on the universe and the story arc of Mad Max. So in saying that, am I a little disappointed it's not based on the movie? No, because I want to kind of create my own Mad Max. I don't want to have to deal with the Mad Max that they've already given me in the film. The film was a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and I think it's one of the best action films ever made. So for them to just say play as that Max, it kind of would be defeating the purpose of playing a video game. I don't like to play video games like this. I like the idea of creating my own story with my own Mad Max. So no, it's not based on the films, it's based on its own thing. According to the publisher, up to 60% of the game's main campaign requires the player to drive. Weapons such as flamethrowers and mounted cannons and a grappling hook can also be added to the magnum opus, which I have to say right now is fucking amazing. The harpoon can be used in vehicle combat with Chum, his mechanic that rides along on the back, shooting it off at other vehicles. Using the harpoon, you could rip off tires, you could rip off doors, you could rip off the bumpers, you could rip the people out of the cars. It's so good. I sound like Seinfeld. What's the deal with car combat? The game's landscape is made up of canyons, caves, deserts, and abandoned wastelands. The game's world is broken up into several regions, each region having its own unique backstory and landscape. Unique landmarks and ruins can also be discovered in each region. Side activities such as races, time travels, evading enemy forts, and eliminating enemy convoys can be found in each region of the game. Each region has its own boss, and this is where I really give it a thumbs up. Each boss encounter had a unique spin on top of it. It may be a chamber that was full of fire that you also have to avoid, and you can also push the enemies into, and the enemy interaction between the AI, the boss, and yourself is actually quite staggering, the way that they interact with each other. I thought it was some of the best cool things I've seen in the game for quite some time. The ability to knock the boss into the fire and then have him come at you on fire, but also have the enemies try to avoid him as he's on fire, but also try to attack you, was awesome to see. Alan asks, where does the game shine the most? And I'm just gonna say it, the car combat is the shining star in this game. It's unbelievable how fun it is. And the chases that happen in this game remind me of the films, and that is the most important part of this game. I wanted a Mad Max game that focused on the car driving aspects and also the car combat aspects of the previous Mad Max films. I'm not a huge fan of Beyond Thunderdome and the whole fighting. Yes, it's in this game and you're using weapons, and it's fun and it's enjoyable, and yes, the ammunition is very hard to come by, so you're not just walking around shooting people in the face. The point here is they focused on the car combat, and I have to give them a round of applause because I haven't played a car combat game this good again since Twisted Metal Black, and that was a long time ago. So I really thoroughly enjoyed that, and I actually have this idea. I want to just capture a couple moments and show you the car combat. So check this car combat out as I talk over it, because I wanted to show you what's happening and why it's so detailed and why it's so much fun. Now what you're seeing here is a convoy. Convoys happen in the game in every territory, and I've got my harpoon on the back right there. I've nailed somebody on the back bumper, and I realized later in the game what you do with that is grab them from behind and then boost into them. That pulls them towards you as you boost into them, and that completely destroys them. So my motivation here is to get the car with the ornament on the front of the hood there, the one with the green marker. And I do that by ripping off his door with my harpoon while having to deal with the other cars that are trying to crash into me. So as I go along here, my goal is to pull the driver out of that car. And I can also aim at the other cars and take their tires off. As you can see there, I can aim at the tires, but I'm trying to pull him out of his car. And it's at this high speed, so I'm like, oh, I'll just pull the other door off. And I'm going along thinking, this is ridiculous. So as it reloads, boom, I've got the, oh, and there, I've pulled him out. And also, my car is now on fire. So Chum Bucket there, oh no, I'm being murdered. This is the worst Let's Play that you've ever seen. Oh God, I'm just gonna stop it here. But you can see why the combat in the car is so awesome. Look at them, they just want to run me over as Chum Bucket there tries to fix the car. It's just so much fun. Max can also ride up in hot air balloons, which are permanently attached to the ground to look for objects and new locations within the environment around him. The objects will be highlighted and shown on the map if Max can view them through his binoculars. I thought this was actually quite fun to be able to go up in this hot air balloon and see the world around him. But not only that, you can see the convoys and groups of cars battling it out in the desert as you're just trying to find your way around. It's very unique, and it's kind of a fresh take on revealing what's on a map. For me, it's so difficult to explain to you how much fun I had with the game. I really feel that the car combat is the shining star in here, and some of the things I don't like about the game have to be the story. I mean, the story is one of the weakest stories that we've gotten for a very long time, and there's not much to it. It's very paper thin, and it's very predictable. It's very mediocre at best. I mean, it's just not a good story. It's just a simple throw Mad Max into the open wasteland and watch him rise up and get a car. That's his story. You come across the kooky characters just like you would expect in a game like this. So yeah, story-wise, no, I don't like you. Very predictable, but the RPG elements here make up for that. And if you are the type of person that likes grinding and put on top of an amazing car combat system, you're in for a ride. And that was a horrible pun, but you're in for an actual kick-ass ride. Chum Bucket, who is your trusted sidekick in this game, is spectacular. I love his dialogue. He has the best dialogue in the game. And Mad Max as a character himself is exactly what I thought he would be. He doesn't say much, and when he does talk, it's pretty goddamn boring, and he is clearly insane. He doesn't know what he's doing, you know, in the open world here. He's there, and he's Mad Max, just like you would assume he would be. So I can't say that was a negative. And the music, don't recall any of it. I don't know why I didn't remember any of it. It's just, I guess it was forgettable. And one of the coolest things in this game is when a sandstorm comes along during a race or during a convoy mission. Oh my God, I haven't had an experience like that and such joy and excitement in a game forever. It really captured me and captured my emotions, and I got the adrenaline rush. It felt like I was fucking Mad Max, and it was awesome. I can't really explain it anymore. It was just a really cool moment in a game, and I want you guys to experience that. So overall, I'm gonna give Mad Max from WB and Avalanche Studios an 8 out of 10. And the reason it's not higher than that is because you can see the seams here and there. And I mean, the story-wise, it's just really not good. Horrible writing in certain parts. Chum Bucket's good, but overall, 8 out of 10. And that's primarily because of the RPG elements and the car combat. Guys, the car combat is just breathtaking. Like, it's so good in this game that most of the score is just based on the car and the car combat. I really enjoyed this game. I really did. So thank you so much for watching. And somebody asked me if I was going to do a review to say, should you buy it or should you wait for it to be cheaper or whatnot? If you like Mad Max, the movie that just came out, I highly suggest, only if you like the combat in the Batman games and Shadow of Mordor. You also like open world feeling games where you're essentially grinding to find scrap, to find loot, to go on these adventures across the desert that involve smashing into cars. Yes, there's moments where you're just driving for 5-10 minutes and not much is going on, but I'm going to shut up now because this rant at the end is going on for too long. I really think you should buy this game if you love the movie. I really do feel that way. But if you are hemming and hawing about the combat and you're more of a combat type person, I would wait for it to go down a little bit. But I mean, you might be missing out because that car combat, fucking good. So good. Thank you, WB, again for sending over the review copy. And I look forward to the next episode, JKB. Thank you. That kiss is for you girls out there. Of course, girls, right? I'm still here. I haven't teleported out. I'll do it now.